All right, welcome back everybody to Altcoin Daily. My name's Austin. In about 15 days, Bitcoin is about to go through possibly the biggest fundamental event that we have in our ecosystem today. The Bitcoin block reward halving of 2020, where the amount of Bitcoins that are mined into existence are cut in half. Because as you know, there will only ever be 21 million Bitcoin ever. So Bitcoin has a fixed supply. And that fixed supply is deflationary, meaning Bitcoin, the first asset ever in human history, has a predictable monetary supply. So in about 15 days, for the third time ever, once in 2012, once in 2016, and again coming up in 2020, the supply faucet, the block reward, the amount of Bitcoin coming into existence every block, which is about every 10 minutes, will be cut in half. Massive supply shock. The block reward, which is now 12.5 coins per block per 10 minutes, will decrease in half to 6.25 coins per block. Now, it should be noted that the last Bitcoin will not be mined until the year 2140. So we will long be dead. Bitcoin will continue to have these halvings for over the next 100 years, really showing how much of an infancy we are right now in Bitcoin's lifespan. So the 2020 Bitcoin halving, by all accounts, is a huge event. And just another way to think about this, what's going to happen in 15 days is today, around 1,800 new Bitcoins are minted into existence each day, worth around $11 million. And most of those 1,800 Bitcoins that are minted daily are dumped daily. The miners are constantly dumping Bitcoin. But this does mean that it takes about $11 million daily coming into the ecosystem, people buying Bitcoin, for the price just to stay the same. But in about 15 days, the next halving, this will drop down to just about 900 BTC a day. That's huge. That's a massive supply shock to the ecosystem. And even if the demand of Bitcoin just stays the same, because we've been seeing healthy, increasing growth demand in Bitcoin over the last month, if the demand just stays the same and the supply faucet gets cut in half, what's that going to mean for the price of Bitcoin? What's that going to mean for you? In today's video, I want to give you some realistic perspective. Hit the like button if you appreciate this content, and let's jump in. First off, just from an awareness perspective, this popped up in Bloomberg the other day, Bloomberg Business Week. Get set for Bitcoin halving. Here's what that means. Articles like this, which we are seeing from traditional finance more and more, means that the FOMO is clearly on. Articles like this add to it. And while this educates a lot of people on what Bitcoin is, a lot of people from this massive blast out of awareness expect a price pump. Like I said, looking at the last month of Bitcoin, we've been seeing a pretty steady, healthy price pump. Now, despite this, my expectation on what the price of Bitcoin will do the day of the halving, and this should be your expectation too, just looking at history, the price of Bitcoin will probably do nothing, or possibly even dump. If we look at the first halving, the price of Bitcoin really did nothing. If we look at the second halving in 2016, the price of halving did something before the event and then dumped that day into the weeks after. And if we're being realistic, it wasn't until 360 days after, or even 525 days after, and the months leading up to it, obviously, that Bitcoin saw new all-time highs, while people said it was a failure day of the Bitcoin halving, the supposed supply shock, the effects price-wise don't happen until after. This is what the common retail investor does not know yet. This is what most other crypto YouTube channels won't tell you. That day of, expect possibly a buy the rumor, sell the news. After the 2017-2018 bear market, we saw a little first accumulation. We saw a little expansion. Right now we are in our second accumulation. Expectation-wise for me, and I'm not a financial advisor, do your own research, but we are about to enter the next official bull market. Obviously 6 to 12 months after the third halving. And as a Bitcoin holder, these are the fundamental macro big picture events that you should be able to articulate to a friend, to a family member. Now, taking into account all sides, looking at all factors for Bitcoin, the only thing that I could see that might be a little bit of a speed bump in Bitcoin's inevitable rise is what traditional markets do. And we have been seeing, despite record unemployment, record infected, record fatalities, unfortunately, because of the trillions of dollars the global economy is printing, the US is printing, traditional markets are turning around. We are seeing right now that the curve is starting to flatten. Now, the USA has said that we're going to slowly start opening up the country again, which is good economically. Hopefully, the only thing that I can see that could potentially slow the party or end the party is if we open things back up and maybe this spikes back up again, like we've seen before. So you tell me what you think down below in the comment section. But either way, in about 15 days, this will be huge awareness, a huge reminder, the third time in history that this has ever happened, a reminder that Bitcoin has a predictable monetary supply, unlike gold, unlike any other asset in history. It is a harder form of money than gold. And yet, despite gold's market cap being trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars more than Bitcoin's today, Bitcoin's inflation rate is about to be lower than gold's for the first time ever. Right here. That speaks volumes, fundamentally. You let me know what you think, but moving on, first piece of news before Cardano, before Ethereum, let's talk about Tezos. Tezos surpasses EOS for the first time in crypto history. Now, Tezos has surpassed EOS in not only real volume, meaning more people are trading Tezos or using Tezos, but also, where was it? Also in the value locked in staking. Here is an updated chart. Tezos is now the biggest staking network. I think this is such big news because despite Tezos still being almost half of EOS's market cap, this could be a sign of things to come, of the value that people are putting in Tezos over EOS. I mean, exchanges, Coinbase, exchanges all over saying, hey, if you store Tezos on our exchange, we'll stake it for you. You can earn some passive Tezos in the process, and we can all help contribute to the network. And the currency, Tezos, has an annual staking yield of nearly 7%. So you get 7% in passive income if you stake yearly. Obviously, this is a good sign in the short term. In the long term, staking has the tendency for the rich to get richer. The fear is that these exchanges will end up controlling these altcoins. If they're earning the most Tezos passively, then they're in control of operating the network, essentially. Also, another fear, I would say, while EOS was sort of the new hotness in 2017, 2018, an optimization came with Tezos for staking in 2019, 2020. There will always be a new, hotter altcoin over the years. Maybe we'll see an optimization of Tezos in 2021, 2022, where the staking then goes to that new altcoin. But we'll see. Exciting times, exciting experiments happening in the space. Next piece of news for Cardano. The Daedalus 1.0 has officially shipped, and according to their CEO, it is receiving an overwhelmingly positive response. This is touted as a huge milestone for the Cardano ecosystem, as unlike its previous wallet, this version of Daedalus is a full node wallet, meaning it can download Cardano's entire ledger of transactions to the device. So it's faster and it can hold more storage. And in comparison, a direct quote from Charles comparing the old version to the new version, sync times for this new version are around 50 minutes up to an hour and a half. Wallet restoration is happening in 20 to 30 minutes. Now, to benchmark this, in comparison, sync times used to be between 9 to 14 hours. In terms of recovery time, it previously took 14 hours. Today, it took 20 minutes. So obviously, huge functionality improvement for Cardano. As Cardano marches towards complete decentralization, this step is crucial simply because it eliminates the need for a third party to validate the transaction. In fact, it is the wallet that can carry out the auto-validation of every single transaction. So the Daedalus 1.0 has shipped. They've been working on this for about 18 months. Obviously, this is leading to the release of Shelly. They say that'll happen sometime this year. I'll keep you updated. Next piece of news. New reports are coming in that Grayscale, Ethereum Trust, so they buy Ethereum and then you can invest in shares of their trust. Grayscale bought 48.4, almost 50% of all mined Ethereum in 2020. So what is Ethereum's inflation rate? How many are mined? Well, currently for Ethereum, when a block is successfully mined on the Ethereum blockchain, a miner receives 3 ETH as a reward. After Constantinople, miners will receive 2 Ethereum per block as a reward, because obviously Ethereum is switching to proof of stake, they say, eventually. Just something to consider about Ethereum. It's not necessarily good. It's not necessarily bad. It just is. Grayscale is buying half of all coins mined. All right, that is the video for today. My name's Austin. Like always, see you tomorrow.